Hey folks, Sheila here from Design Files. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can track every single hour that you put into a project, whether that is a billable hour or a non-billable hour. Now, we had a lot of requests from our members who wanted to be able to also track their non-billable time, and I'm really happy to say that that's now available. So when you pop into your Design Files account, if you go into your time tracker, you're going to now see that you have a breakdown for billable hours versus non-billable hours. And if you are setting up your services to be billable versus non-billable, then you'll be able to basically track your time for all of those services, and you'll see the clear breakdown in your timetable here that indicates which of these tasks are actually billable ones that you're going to apply to invoices for your client and where you are spending that non-billable time. So let's jump in. I'm going to show you exactly how to set this up, because ultimately we want to make sure that you are making sure your projects are as profitable as possible. And if you have these insights into where you're spending your time, it'll give you a better sense for whether or not you need to rethink how you're managing your projects, or if you need to rethink your rates. Maybe your rates are not high enough to cover all that extra time that you're putting in that you're not billing for. So let's go ahead. We'll use this project as an example, but before I do that, I'm going to show you how to set up all your services within your Design Files account so you can track that billable versus non-billable time. The way you would do that is by going into the menu up here. We're going to pop into our account settings, and within our account settings, you're going to see that there is an option for services. So click into that. In your services, you're going to see that it's broken down into time services versus flat rate services. Now, we're not going to touch on flat rate services for today, but if this is something that you offer, definitely go into the Learn section, check out the videos and webinars. In there, you're going to see a video that's specific for setting up flat rate services within your Design Files account so that you can automatically pull those into any invoices that you're creating for your clients. But for now, this video, we're going to be talking strictly about timed services. So we're going to click into that. And in here, this is where you're going to set up all those individual services, whether they are billable or non-billable. So here you can see that I've actually got a number of them already added. Some of them are showing as billable, and there's an hourly rate associated with them. And then I've got other ones that are non-billable services, and there's no hourly rate applied to them. Now, the way that you set up a service is by clicking this button right here to add a new service. Here, you can see that you can include an image if you like. So if you love the idea of having individual icons that represent certain services, go ahead and choose a file. You can also give your service a name. And here, this is where you're going to define whether or not this is going to be a billable or a non-billable service. If it's going to be a billable service, leave this toggle turned off, add in your hourly rate. You can define if it's taxable and go ahead and save that service. If this is going to be a non-billable service, you're just going to turn this toggle on. You'll see that that then hides your option to include an hourly rate. So we're not adding a fee to this. We're just saving this as a non-billable service. And then we can apply time to that so that we can track all of our hours whenever we're working on projects. So go ahead and create all the services that you want, and they're going to show like this. Some categories that you might want to include for non-billable time could be client communication. Maybe there's cases where you just had to hop on a quick phone call with your client to discuss a specific detail about a project, and you just don't want to bill your client for that time, but you still want to track it so that you get a sense for how much time you're spending on the project. So you could add it to your client communication service. You could also be dealing with cases where maybe you're setting up meetings or you're organizing some documents, and it's an administrative task that you don't plan on billing to your client. So you could have administrative tasks. You could also do things you could set up a miscellaneous one. This would just kind of cover any sort of random time that you're spending on a project. Maybe it's a case where you're doing revisions to a design board, but it's outside of the scope of the project. So you plan to make the changes, but you don't want to bill your client for it. This would be a category where you could track that time. So set up as many as you like. And then once you have them set up, if you are jumping into your Design Files account and you want to start tracking some time that you're going to spend on a project, the first thing you can do is pop right over here to your tracker. You can select the project where you're going to track your time. And then here you'll be able to select the service. So again, let's say that I need to make a revision to a design board and I don't want to bill my client for this, but I just want to track how much time I'm spending on it. So I could go into my miscellaneous non-billable. I'm going to add a note here saying, I don't know, revisions to design board 1, whatever it is. Here you can see that there's no hourly rate applied to it, so I can start tracking my time for this particular task, and the system will just tally that up for you. So whenever you're ready, you would just stop your timer, and then this would then get saved into the project as non-billable time so that you can have a clear breakdown of how much time you're spending on the project. Now, another thing that you can do, just in case you kickstarted into a project and you forgot to start your timer, if you just need to add in some manual time to track specific hours that you've been working on a project, you can always just pop into any of your projects, go directly into your time tracker, and here you'll be able to see that you can add a manual entry. So I can click into that, I can select the service that I'm going to be adding in. Maybe I'm dealing with some administrative tasks and I'm scheduling meetings. And I'm just gonna say, okay, I spent 15 minutes doing this. So I can add this in and everything will be tracked within my project. Here, I'll be able to see which one of those tasks is non-billable. Down here, I can see which tasks are actually billable tasks that I've applied an hourly rate to, and I've got my totals tracked up here. So we can get an overall sense for how much non-billable time I'm actually spending on the project versus billable time. And that's essentially it. So it's really quick and easy to set up, and it's going to really help give you those extra insights that you need to make sure that you have a clear understanding of where you're actually spending your time on your project and where your team members are spending their time on the project. And if you feel that there's an awful lot of non-billable hours being associated to a project, then you can start rethinking, okay, where do we need to start making some changes to our process so that we're not putting in all this extra time that we're not going to be getting paid for? Or do we need to start thinking about raising the rates because we've got to be able to cover ourselves for this time that we're going to be putting in that we're not essentially going to be billing the client for? So definitely pop into your Design Files account, give this new feature a try, track all your time on your next client project. I bet you'll be surprised by how much non-billable time you're putting in. And of course, as always, if you have any questions at all, reach out to us on the live chat. We're always happy to help. Thanks for watching.